Hey everyone, at Dawn here again, and I'm back with another episode of the Bits and Pieces. It's Thursday, you know the role, same time, same YouTube channel. Let's get right into it. This week we're doing something a little bit different because I always lead off with a movie or a specific topic, a specific movie. This time we're going to talk about movies that are coming out in 2020. So we're going to cover quite a few different movies that are on the horizon. Some of these have already come out, but let's get into the article. This article comes to us from horrornews.net. It was written on today, the day I'm filming, before the release, February 19th, 2020 at 4 p.m. For some reason, it's specifically released and titled at that time by Janelle Spiegel. Horror movies coming out in 2020. So starting off, we don't have a remake or a reimagination. We have a sequel, Wrong Turn, The Foundation, in 2020. I guess it doesn't have a release date. I believe this is the 7th. Wrong Turn. It's 6th or 7th. It's somewhere around there. Description is, friends hiking in an Appalachian trail are confronted by the Foundation, a community of people who have lived in the mountains for hundreds of years. Directed by Mike P. Nelson, I'm excited to see what he does with this movie, especially after talking with actor Damien Mahaif of Wrong Turn, The Foundation. The script was written by original writer Alan B. McElroy. This is one film that the horror community seems pretty excited about. I haven't even heard about the fact they were making another Wrong Turn. I'm good without one. Some people are fans of these movies. I enjoyed the first couple, but let's move on. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 3 on Netflix, January 24th, 2020. So that's already come out. So far, this list isn't wowing me. Praise Satan. Let's just throw up our horns. I'm excited for Season 3. It will be interesting to see what happens with Sabrina and how she will save Nick. He was last seen possessed by the Dark Lord. Oh my God. Wasn't her boyfriend named Harvey? Is Harvey already dead? I never watched more than one episode. I think I watched one episode in the first season and I turned it off. I might be a little biased because, of course, I grew up with the 90s TV show with Melissa Joan Hart, and I'm sure the boyfriend's name was Harvey. Or Harry or so. Anyways, let's move on. Cheerleader by day, Sabrina by night. There's no finish to the slogan. If you have a one-liner and you didn't finish it. Cheerleader by day. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Part 3, January 24th, Netflix. Anyways, moving on. Lovecraft Country 2020. A young African-American travels across the U.S. in the 1950s in search of his missing father. This show is created by Misha Green and Jordan Peele. It stars Abby Lee, Chase Brown, and Uje Ellis. Lovecraft established 1629 Country. That's a new series made by Jordan Peele. Not really sure how it's going to be connected to Lovecraft. If it's Jordan Peele, I'm going to assume since it's set in the 50s, we're going to see something in terms of the pre-civil rights movement, but I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility, shot in the dark. Anyways, moving on. Inner Ghosts on January 7th, written and directed by Paulo Light. Inner Ghosts is about a woman who gave up on her life as a medium, receives a gift from the afterlife, a device that can perform wonderful things at a price. This is another one that must be more independent. I'm not familiar with this. We've got the poster. It says, "The key to hell lies deep in your heart," with keys right beside it. Ooh, Photoshop. We've got the claws on the back of this lady who is a former medium. We've got the ghosts. It doesn't even say who's starring in it. Let's see what we got here. We got Celia Williams, Elizabeth Botchman, Iris Kayetti, Norman McCallum, that's with Amanda Booth, Anna Sophie Light. Wasn't Light the name of the director? So is that like a relation? And Joad Blumel. I'm not too sure. Maybe this might be European. It might be South American. Let's move on. So far, I'm not doing too well. Join me every week on the Bits and Pieces where I talk about how I'm an expert on horror. First 3 movies. Anyways, let's continue. The New Mutants on April 3rd, 2020. I've talked about this on the show before. Josh Boone, The Fault in Our Stars, wrote and directed this sci-fi film. It's about 5 young mutants just discovering their abilities while held in a secret facility against their will, fight to escape their past sins, and save themselves. Sounds like a piece of cake. This movie's been in the can for almost 2 years. I was a fan of the idea when it first came out, like a darker take on the X-Men, the mutants that were rejected, what happened to Dazzler, that sort of thing. We're getting it April 3rd. Not really a horror movie, more of a thriller, but let's check it out. I'll check that one out and I'll talk about it. In 2020, we've got Kill Ben Like, January 15th in LA theaters. Within 24 hours, 3 people have been murdered in London, all by the name of Ben Like. Scotland Yard decides to gather together all the other Ben Likes, conveniently, located in London until they can figure out who's after them and why. Kill Ben Like looks good. It's directed by Erwin Marianopoulos. These have to be more independent. I've never even heard of this. Zorg Studios. Expect to see that coming soon to your Walmart discount bin with 7-on-1 DVD. In 2021, coming to your local discount bin, 8-in-1 horror movies for $5. Moving on. Alright, so this one I'm actually familiar with and I'm somewhat excited to see it. Color Out of Space came out on January 24th, so it's already out. Based on one of H.P. Lovecraft's original stories, Richard Stanley returns to directing, and this wild trippy film feels just like what 2020 needs, sci-fi and horror blended beautifully. The Dinner Party 2020 was written and directed by Miles Dolnick, Michael Donovan Horn writing. Miles Dolnick is an actor, writer, director, producer. Is there anything he can't do? I don't believe so. The Dinner Party finds Bill Sage, Jeremy London, Sherry Atkins, Ali Hart, and more Dolnick's last film. That is not the right paragraph, because I'm sure this movie has Nicolas Cage in it. So I'm reading it, but I don't think whoever wrote this article has tagged the right one. So this is a movie, Color Out of Space. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. And yeah, that is not the right movie. We're on a roll. Continuing on, The Grudge remake by Sam Raimi. It came out on January 3rd, 2020. It's directed by Nicholas Pesci. The Grudge opened in theaters on January 3rd, and it is one hell of a ride. This cast is outstanding. There are some ups and downs, but Sam Raimi is producing. That alone is incredible. Lin Shaye brings it as well. An Untitled Saw project directed by Darren Leon Boozman is also in 2020. So I think the Dinner Party one was supposed to be bold and italicized. So it's supposed to represent another movie we're talking about, but for some reason the Lovecraft movie came after the paragraph. But the Grudge movie, actually, it didn't do too poorly, so I might check it out. I haven't seen it yet because I thought it was going to completely bomb, but I'm pretty sure it had like a shoestring budget, like 9 or 10 million, and I want to say it made like 40 something domestically. That's the last time I heard about it, because like I said, it's been a couple weeks. I was paying attention to this at the end of the month, the beginning of February. I had honestly almost forgotten this came out before I read this article, but I do recall reading about it. So let's see. Continues on. People have mixed feelings about Saw in general. An Untitled Saw project directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, directed Saw 2, Tales of Halloween, Abattoir, San Agatha, and many more. They have Pete Goldfinger from Jigsaw, Piranha 3, Avatar, The Last Airbender, Chris Rock, Josh Stolberg writing. Oh, that's a Chris Rock Saw I'm not too interested in that. Sorry for anyone who's a Saw fan. I don't like the movie series. Anything that's kind of torture horror, it's pretty much torture porn. I'm not interested in it. Let's move on to The Invisible Man. Now, this was a needless movie, and it comes out soon. It's coming out February 28th, 2020. So the trailers for The Invisible Man played before The Grudge. Lee Wenhell is directing this one based on H.G. Wells' novel. It looks like it's going to be a thrill ride, a fun day movie, that's for sure. What you can't see can hurt you. Elizabeth Moss, The Invisible Man. You can't tell me most of this movie wasn't already written or in pre-production or already under production when The Dark Universe got canceled. This was the next movie in the Dark Universe after the damn Tom Cruise Mummy. This was supposed to be the next one. This was an unnecessary movie. This should have been shelved and never released. This is going to bomb. I'm calling the shot right now on the Bits and Pieces. That movie is going to bomb big time. Moving on. A Quiet Place Part 2. The one original horror movie probably from the latter half of the 2010s. And now we have a sequel. The theater got really quiet during the trailer for A Quiet Place Part 2. It was odd not hearing and chatting and crunching on snacks. This is another trailer that played before The Grudge. The entire theater was focused on the screen for A Quiet Place Part 2 with the echoes, I can't wait for moviegoers. It was odd to hear a theater so quiet during a trailer. So we're getting Quiet Place Part 2. Does that mean we're going to get Bird Box Part 2 on Netflix? Asking for a friend. Moving on. Candyman. June 12th, 2020. We've talked about this movie on the Bits and Pieces. It was untitled at the beginning when I was covering it. We got Candyman written by Clive Barker is being remade by Jordan Peele and Win Rosenfeld, Tony Todd, Yahya Abdul Mateen, Teyonah Parris, Coleman Domingo, and Rebecca Spence will be starring in Candyman. It's being directed by Nia DaCosta from Little Woods. Jordan Peele's Lovecraft Country is also coming out this year. He wrote Us and Get Out. Both were incredible films. I'll check this out. I've said it before on the Bits and Pieces. I've said it before on the back on the DLC. I'm not a fan of Jordan Peele's work on the most part. I respect Us and Get Out. Other than that, the whole YouTube meme comedy leading up to the Key and Peele, no thanks. But I will check this out because they got Tony Todd to come back, so I will check that out. Even though the subsequent sequels to the original Candyman were pretty terrible, I will give that a chance. We got The Purge Part 5. There's another one I could really care less about. Ghostbusters Afterlife, what I like to call Ghostbusters Stranger Things. The Ghostbusters is a beloved classic film, a movie that has stood the test of time. Ghostbuster Afterlife, written by Dan Aykroyd, Gil Keenan, Harold Ramos. Please tell me that they haven't misspelled Harold Ramos. Tell me that's another Harold Ramos, but that's not how you spelled Harold Ramos' name. And Jason Reitman brings the original cast back with some new blood. Spell check and Google on Wikipedia before you release articles. Horrornews.net. But thank you for the article. Terrifier 2. There's another one. That's another one that I can't wait to see. Silent but Deadly. Art the Clown returns to cause more chaos in Terrifier 2 and directed by Damien Leone. Felissa Rose has been added to this mayhem-causing cast. Art is said to return to Miles County, and he gets in all sorts of trouble. Be on the lookout. And there's Art the Clown covered in blood. We've got Do Not Reply. Oh, Social Media, another social media movie. Moving on. We've already seen that with Defriended and Friends List and Facebook and Death Day Part 1 and 2. Happy Death Day. We've seen it. Moving on. We've got The Turning, January 24th, 2020. Directed by Floria Sigismondi, Daredevil, and Handmaid's Tale. It stars Finn Wolfhard, Mackenzie Davis. It looks creepy and the story sounds so good. Put your hands up if you agree with me that the whole demonic child thing has been played to death. It's over. Damien and The Omen. The Omen was a good movie. Stop trying to remake it. Children of the Corn was a close second in terms of the scary children's movie, but it's time to move on. It's time to turn the page rather than do the turning. Halloween Kills. There we go. I thought I was going to cover something different, and I'm covering Halloween Kills. Michael Myers comes back again. Laurie Strode battled him in Halloween 2018, and director David Gordon Green is coming back as well with Jamie Lee Curtis, Anthony Michael Hall, and Judy Greer. The legend that is Nick Castle will also return along James Jude Courtney. They both play the Shape. Nick Castle is our original Shape, and James is our new Shape. I've heard this now referred to as the modern trilogy. The Blumhouse Halloween trilogy has happened. And some type of comparison to the Lord of the Rings. That is it. That's it for all the movies coming out in 2020 that horrornews.net has decided to cover. And thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of the Bits and Pieces. But before I go, I just wanted to quickly mention from this article from bloodydisgusting.com that we did lose a horror legend today on February 19th. That's when this article was published. Brazilian master of horror, Jose Mojica Marins, has passed away, better known as Coffin Joe. Let's just close that advertisement there. So there's a picture of him there as Coffin Joe. Best known for creating and playing the popular character Coffin Joe in the Coffin Joe trilogy, Brazil's first iconic horror icon, filmmaker Jose Mojica Moreira has sadly passed away at the age of 83. The Brazilian master of horror introduced Coffin Joe in 1964's At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul, an undertaker who prowls the city in search of a female to bear him a son. The character went on to become a cinema icon in Brazil, subsequently appearing in 9 films, including the Coffin Joe trilogy, This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse, Embodiment of Evil, The Bloody Exorcism of Coffin Joe. Moreira puts a meta twist on his own creation, playing both himself and fictional character. With a black top hat and long fingernails, Coffin Joe has been referred to as Brazil's national boogeyman, or Brazil's Freddy Krueger, which should have give you a good idea of how popular the character is. Jose Mojica Moreira also directed the horror movies Nightmare in 1965, Awakening the Beast in 1970, Hellish Flesh in 1977, and the segment Viral in the Profane exhibit in 2013. His character similar to Freddy Krueger, but it's definitely a lot more, like it says, meta, and it has a lot more of, like, I wouldn't say like witchcraft, but a lot more based in urban myth and a little bit of religion mixed in there as well. So that is it. That's it for this week's articles of the Bits and Pieces. Thanks for bearing with me. A bit of a different format this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the video. And as always, I appreciate you watching the video. And if you have come along, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All that fun stuff. I'll be back next Thursday with more Bits and Pieces. And until then, I'll talk to you soon.